And Ferland got another piece of it. Here's a giveaway. Jones, what a save by EddieLack.
From the bench to the bleachers, you are listening to the only podcast in Ontario that keeps you in the game.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, let's do this.
My next guest on In the Game played 144 games in the National Hockey League with a 2.62 goals against and a .909 save percentage. He played for the Vancouver Canucks, Carolina Hurricanes, Calgary Flames, and the New Jersey Devils. He has a love for the Swedish chef, and he sells real estate. I'm talking about Swedish former NHL goaltender EddieLack. Eddie, welcome to the show. You are in the game.
Yeah, what's going on?
Not much. EddieLack, what's happening with you?
Just working.
I get it. Here we are, episode 4 of In the Game with EddieLack.
That's awesome.
Eddie, I appreciate you sitting in with us. So yeah, Eddie, let's take it back to the beginning. Tell me what it was like as a child growing up in the country of Sweden.
Sweden was great. It was very, I would call it innocent. Like we never locked our doors, and like we always just walked to school, like 4 or 5 kids together, like playing like street hockey in the backyards and like on the street and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, I really loved it, and just really thankful for my upbringing.
So fill me in here, Eddie.
Yeah.
Back in 2003, I played in Sundsvall, Sweden, and I noticed that there was these lights in the window in most of these homes, especially near the water. What's the deal with that?
So I think I know what you're talking about. We have like a kind of like a Christmas thing, right? Where we keep lights and there's like 4 different lights sitting on kind of like a pole, right? That's more like a December thing in Sweden. We like start decorate with probably like 1st of December, and then it like carries through Christmas and everything like that. I mean, Sweden is like very dark too, right? So like we basically will take like whatever light we can get.
I remember a lot of my time spent in Sweden there, Eddie. It was a lot of beers and a lot of sauna and really good people.
Sweden is like great, especially during like the summer when the sun is up like all the time. Like the winters just get a little bit too dark for me.
So Eddie, when did you begin to play the game of hockey, and were you a goalie at first when you first started playing?
So I started, so I watched the Olympics 94. So I was 6 years old, and I watched Sweden beat Canada in a shootout to win the Olympic gold. Sorry, Corey Hirsch. And Peter Forsberg had like the winning goal, and Tommy Salo made like the winning save, right? And like that's when I decided that I wanted to start playing hockey, and usually you started when you were 7, so I was just 6, but I started playing with the guys that were like 1 year older than me, and I was like a terrible skater because the rest of the kids, they like played like 1 year more than me, and like they went through like the skating school and everything, and my dad just threw me in there and was like, figure it out, right? And I was a skater the first, I think, year or 2, and then we got into goalies, and I was like, oh, like this might be my chance, right? So I started playing goalie and just loved it from like the start.
You said that you were inspired by watching the Olympics. That's what made you want to play the game of hockey. Should we have NHL players at the Olympics? Like, do you believe that we should continue to grow the game and continue to have the NHL players participating in this global event to showcase the skill globally and grow the game and maybe influence younger players around the world?
Yeah, I think. I mean, when I watched the '94 Olympics, that was without NHL players, right? And like that took me probably until I was like 15 or 16 to like realize that like that that was the case and everything, right? But for like me or like people that like to watch hockey, I do think that the best players in the world should be part of the Olympics, because it is one of the biggest stages. Like we always get asked questions like, what would you rather win, like an Olympic gold or like the Stanley Cup, right? But I would say that all NHL players would for sure pick the NHL and win the Stanley Cup. But that's not saying that the Olympics is not a big tournament, because I still think it's as big as you can get on the international level.
It's all about wearing your country's colors. I don't want to use the word idol, but you're wearing the country's colors, and it's the representation of your country that some of these younger kids look up to you in your home country, right?
Yeah. And like just watching the World Championships and the Olympics and everything growing up, I like dreamed to be there one day too, right? Like my dream wasn't only the NHL, like my dream was to represent Sweden too, and I was fortunate to do that in the World Championship too. So
I was just going to ask you, Eddie, in 2016 and 17, you represented your own country. You represented Sweden at a World Championship and won a gold medal. What was that like?
Yeah. I mean, it was super, super cool, and like just like winning something with guys that you played with growing up and played against, and like just we're all coming from like kind of the same background and everything, and just to like win something like that together was just huge, and just being kind of in that spotlight on like Swedish TV and everything, it just brought back like a lot of memories from when I was younger and I watched it myself. So yeah, I mean, it was just a super cool experience.
You had some pretty good teammates on that gold medal Swedish team, didn't you?
So I had all three of my best friends with Carolina with me, Victor Rask, Elias Lindholm, and Joakim Nordstrom. We had John Klingberg, Ulrik Larsen. We got Joel and Henrik Lundqvist, William Nylander, Niklas Backstrom. So yeah, I mean, we had a really, really good team. Gabriel Landeskog, yeah.
I have to agree with you with allowing the best players to play in the world, especially at the Olympics. I mean, since '94, this has helped put some more players on the map for the NHL from Sweden. It's helped with the development, but it's also catapulted international exposure. And a lot of players have been coming down the pipeline from Sweden lately, being drafted into the NHL. Do you not agree on that one?
Yeah. And I think that the European countries take the World Championships like a little bit more serious than Canada and US too, because the Stanley Cup playoffs is still going on and everything, right? But like for the European countries, like the World Championship is like really, really big, right? And we got the parade when we come home and win and everything like that. So that's like way different than I know how like Americans and Canadians see the World Championship.
When you guys won the gold medal, did you do anything special at all?
Yeah, so we chartered back the next day, and when we were about to land in Sweden, there were like fighter jets like following us in and everything. And like once we like landed, they're like fire trucks like spraying water on us and stuff like that, right? And then we got to meet like the prince and the princess of Sweden. We went to like the castle and we hung out with them for a while, and then it set up the biggest square that we have in Stockholm with like a stage and everything. We went out there and like celebrated with like the fans and everything. It was kind of like a show, right? And nice like dinner and fun after. So yeah, no, it was great.
Did anybody lose their gold medal that you're aware of?
I'm not aware of that, no.
I've always heard stories about guys losing their gold medals, or, you know, like the Stanley Cup where guys sleep with the Stanley Cup or they end up losing the cup, or, you know, these stories that happen with it.
Yeah, so the World Championship trophy got lost there for like a few weeks, and like no one knew where it was, right? And then I think it was Victor Hedman. He just texted with the group chat. He's like, "Don't worry, guys, it's all here with me," right? And
of course, it had to be someone like Victor Hedman, eh?
Yeah.
So let's go back to the NHL. You were passed up on every single year of your eligibility for the NHL draft. The last year of eligibility, you're not seeing your name. You're not hearing your name. What's going through your mind, Eddie?
Yeah, like, so there was like 1 year where I heard some kind of talk that Atlanta might have been like interested in me or something, and like I sent in like the form with like the top 100 or 150 European players thing, but I never really expected to be drafted. Like for me, that was just like big to like hear that one team like was kind of interested, right? So like my focus was just on like the day-to-day basis, like trying to get better and like playing for Leksand and like just trying to make that jump to like the Swedish Elite League, and then I kind of knew, right, like if I play good enough, like the interest is gonna come like eventually. So that was not a very big deal to me now.
So at what point did you find out, or did you know that some NHL club was interested in you or had the intentions of offering you a contract? How much later did you finally realize that this was happening?
So I heard that Vancouver was interested, and they had a scout that lived in Gävle, which was when I played for Brynäs, right? So I know that Inge was at like most practices and he saw like the games and everything. So like I knew that he was interested, but from that to like be offered a contract, because so I was hurt a little bit that year, and I was Marky's backup, and I think I only played like 13 or 14 games. So like from that to them offering me a contract, like I did not think that it was going to happen so fast, right? But once it did, they didn't give me a lot of time to think, and that was like the biggest thing that I just thought, like, what if I break my leg and I get hurt or something like the next year, and like then this chance is never going to happen again. So I really wanted to just jump on the opportunity and just see what was going to happen.
Yeah, so I mean, at that point in your career, Eddie, you were undrafted every single year of your NHL eligibility. Someone has come forward and offered you a contract, and you might as well jump on that because you've got nothing to lose. And at that point in your age, you know, there's injuries and everything to think about. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I would have to say you jumped on it right away.
Yeah. And like I figured that eventually I was going to have to play in the AHL to make it to the NHL, right? So like, why not start right away instead of playing in Sweden for a few more years? And like, then I still, especially as a goalie, you still have to play in the AHL to make the jump, and like the only guy that really made the jump without playing minor league was the King, right? So I think Jonas Gustafsson didn't play either, but yeah, I mean, there's very few of them that has just like making the jump right away.
Given the path that you took, Eddie, during your career, being undrafted and passed up and then signing and playing in the A, then getting to the NHL, do you think that kids or young players growing up could look up EddieLack and learn something about perseverance or learn something about hard work and maybe never giving up and chase your dreams?
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like everyone needs to make their own way and like figure out what way that works for them. Like some players that I play with in Sweden, I know for a fact that they benefited from staying back like a few more years before they moved over. But like for me, I lived by myself since I was 17 already, and like knew how to take care of myself, and that was going to be like the biggest adjustment, right? To just move over, learn like a new language and like a new country, but that was something that I was mentally ready for already, right? And like not all people are there yet at that young age. That's like the biggest thing for players, I think, just to like figure out their own path and what's going to work for them.
Your lesson for players will be look at EddieLack. I mean, okay, I didn't get drafted, but I also didn't give up and I kept working hard. And in the end, look where it got me.
There's only like a handful of goalies where you can actually see when they're 18, all right, like they're going to be like really good, right? But most goalies, you can hit like a growth spur when you're like 21 or 22, and you're like all of a sudden you're you're like 6'5", right? So goalies, you never really know what's gonna happen. And yeah, I mean, if I was a GM for the NHL team and everything, like I'd never draft a goalie in like the first round, because like you never know what's going to happen.
Especially for goalies, because they take so long to develop.
Yeah. And like that's kind of what I heard like throughout my career. Like I had the size and like the reflexes and like the work ethic and everything. Like the thing that I had to work on to get to like the NHL level was more like my body maturing and like getting stronger and like being able to handle playing that many games.
Yeah, exactly. Or you're going to take a free agent who's a little older and you know exactly what you're going to get because they're mature by then. You needed to bulk up to be more physical playing at the NHL level. So because of your stature, I'm guessing that's where this Stork nickname came from?
Yeah. Tall, skinny legs. Yeah.
So where did you get the stork-like bird stature from?
I don't know. Like,
was it like genetics or family?
I don't know, because my dad is like you too, and he's got like a ton of muscles and stuff, and I've never been able to put on muscle like him. So maybe the mailman or something. I don't know.
Maybe not enough lasagna or pasta there, Eddie?
Yeah, exactly.
So you get that contract, Eddie, and you go to Vancouver. You're with the Sedins, Kessler, Bietska, Roberto Luongo's there. You played 41 games and had a 2.41 goals against and a 912 save percentage. Those are some pretty good numbers. I mean, you had what seemed to be a very good first season in the NHL. How was that season for you? And did you feel confident after that season that you belonged at that level with that organization and playing in that league?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. From like my first training camp there, when I was going to go down to like the minors and play too, like me and Bobby were roommates during like the training camp and everything. And yeah, I mean, he taught me a lot about being a pro and like just like the work ethic that he had and just like being nice, because I was like a 22-year-old Swede coming over, right? And being able to play with a future Hall of Famer like him, right? It was just huge. And yeah, I mean, I did not expect that I was going to play 41 games. Looking back at it, like, was I ready for it? Like, probably not. but the amount of games that I played that year kind of prepared me for the next year, where I played 41 games too, and just the mental grind that it has on you and everything, right? So that was really like a valuable lesson to me.
So that first NHL season, you had some Swedish friends in the locker room. That probably had to help.
So I played in the minors like 3 years before that and everything. So I was used to the language and the culture and everything like that. And I never really saw my teammates like Swedish or not Swedish, right? Like, I was kind of that guy that was hanging out with everyone and like getting along with everyone. So, but the Sedins are definitely like the two best teammates that I've ever had, right? So
you get into your first NHL game in your first NHL season, Eddie. How are you feeling on that start? How are you reacting? And when guys are coming down into your zone and you're squaring up to the puck, how are you feeling getting ready to take that first NHL shot? Like, what is going through your mind at that point?
Yeah, so funny story. Back then, we actually wore like heart rate monitors and stuff during practice and games, right? So I've been told this after by the strength coach for the Canucks, Roger Takahashi, that during the national anthem, my heart rate was like 185 or something. He's like, "Is he gonna make it through the game?" They're just like sitting up there laughing, and yeah. Remember, first game was in Calgary in the Saddle Dome, and yeah, I mean, I was just like really excited, really nervous and everything. Like, I can't really remember the first shot or anything, but like the first period was just like really, really nervous. But then I feel like I like settled in and I settled down, and yeah, then it was just normal after that.
Peaking 180 beats a minute on the heart rate monitor on your first start, that is completely insane, Eddie. That is absolutely nuts. I couldn't imagine it. Where does your first NHL win, where does that rank? You know, when you speak of like winning a gold medal at the World Championships, where does the win fit in on all this? Where does it rank?
I would rank my favorite was like when we clinched the playoffs with Vancouver the next year. Like we were in like a really tight battle with LA, coming down with like 3 games left, and we were playing them at home, and with a win, we would basically like clinch the playoffs, right? And so I remember the first shot on net went in, and I was just shit, like what's gonna happen, right? And then we ended up tying it up like late in like the third period to 1-1 with like, I think Daniel Sedin scored with like 5 minutes to go or something, and like the building just like erupted, right? And then we ended up beating them in the shootout, and like that was like probably like the best feeling that I've had. Yeah, it was like super cool, and just like seeing like the way that like the fans reacted and how happy everyone was, right? So yeah, that was really cool.
So I know your reputation as a guy, and you're an outstanding guy, Eddie. You know, you're just thankful to get the NHL contract and be there. Your first season you show up, you do really well. The numbers are really good. Then Bobby Lou gets moved. Are you then thinking that this is your chance? Maybe I'll have a shot to be the number one guy here in Vancouver and take control of the net and help this organization? Did you?
Yeah. Like I thought that when the summer when they signed Ryan Miller, that I honestly thought that me and Marky could be like a really good tandem, and like we could like be really good just splitting games 50-50 down the road there. Like that's what I thought, and like that's what I was hoping was going to happen, right? And like then when Milsey got signed, of course I knew that he was going to be like the starter going forward, right? And I was just going to have to like watch and learn and keep working hard in practice, right? And then the next year when I got the chance to play 41 games, and I felt like so much more comfortable than the year before even, right? And like that's really when I thought that I could be a starter. I kind of knew that I was going to be the odd man out. So yeah, it was just like one of these things that it wasn't going to work out with the numbers and everything. And yeah, I mean, I was really sad to leave.
Yeah, Eddie, it was a pretty sad situation that you ended up leaving. I get it. Ryan Miller comes in from Buffalo, having all those deep playoff runs. The city was pumped. Goo Goo Dolls sang a song, Better Days. Everything was just rocking in Buffalo, and he is a good goaltender. You played 41 games. I believe he played 45 games. Do you know who had the better stats? Do you know on paper who the better goaltender was?
What? When?
I mean, I do. I looked at the stats. Do you know who was the better goalie?
Yeah, I know.
You know, the one season where you played 41 games and Miller played 45. I see you smiling. You know who the better goalie on paper was. Yeah, I know. See, EddieLack, right? You were the better goaltender, and I get it. I understand what was going on in Vancouver. I understand the cap hit. I understand bringing him in. I understand the legacy he had with them, or the thoroughbred, or the pedigree. I understand why the move was made to make that 1A and 1B combo. But, you had the better numbers, which me, if I was a general manager, would have took the free agent like you that signed into an organization and gave you a chance.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to just see you get 10, 15 more games to see what you could have done and compare those numbers with Miller for the value that the club was getting. So you had Bobby Lou and you had Ryan Miller. Both of them were probably really good guys. What was your relationship like with Bobby Lou or Ryan Miller? How did they differ? How did they help you adjust to the game? Or what did they help you with?
Yeah. I mean, they're different people with like a very similar career in like many ways, I would say. And yeah, I mean, Ryan Miller, I learned like different stuff from than what I learned from Bobby, right? And we had different conversations, but I still get along with him like really well. And we went out to dinners on the road and hung out and joked around, right? So like it wasn't that much different, to be honest.
So both of those guys played with you, both amazing goaltenders. I believe they were actually both Olympic goaltenders as well.
They played against each other in the 2010 Olympics in the final in Vancouver.
2010. That's when you signed with Vancouver, wasn't it? Who were you rooting for?
No, but I think that I was rooting for Canada. I mean, home ice in Vancouver, and just like knowing that Vancouver was like kind of interested in me too, right? Like I back in that time, like Sweden was my only team, right? So I was basically just hoping for a great game, which turned out to be. But yeah, if I had to pick someone, I'd probably pick Canada.
So you spend a few years in Vancouver. You now move to the Carolina Hurricanes, another nice city. Your numbers are great. You're still playing very well. What's kind of going through your mind after you've been moved and you've been in Carolina for a while playing?
I don't know. The biggest thing with Carolina was that they had Cam Ward, like great goalie, like great guy, and they kind of wanted me to play like a little bit more like him, instead of being myself, and I kind of got in my own head there a little bit, like trying to be something that I was not, and yeah, I mean, that was like a different time, right? But I also think that those numbers weren't as bad as people think. Like, there are a lot of goalies that have come in there like after me too, with the same style and like the same coach that had worse numbers than me, right? And I just don't think that the stats in Carolina reflected that much how we actually played, me and Wardo, and that was like a little bit unfair at that time, I thought. But it's like it was way different too, because in Vancouver I used to see like 30, 32, 35 shots a game with maybe like 5 or 6 grade A's, right? While when I came to Carolina, the game kind of switched, and I saw maybe 20, 23 shots a night with maybe like 8 or 9 grade A's. So that was just like a whole different game to me, and I really liked living in Carolina. I like the fans there. I'm really happy that they have like a really good team to cheer for now, and yeah, I mean, that style of hockey just didn't suit me.
I don't think that most fans out there that fully understand the systems and the game and how it works, like from one organization to another, the style of play or what is expected, or, you know, your style of play. I don't think they fully forget that holding numbers similar moving from organization to organization actually proves or shows that you're more a bona fide starter in the league, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest thing that comes with more playing time is a higher risk of injuries, right, Eddie? I mean, so you go to Carolina, you had a couple concussions. I believe you also had a neck issue that affected your play as well, right? So when did all this happen?
The biggest thing was just like the neck issues and stuff. But so I've already been out 3 months with 2 different concussions that year. So I just got back and I just like started feeling good, like rolling again, and I was playing good and everything, right? So the first concussion that I had was just like a stupid thing. So I was in practice, going to play the puck behind the net, and just fell on like the bad ice or something, and I smashed my head on the ice and like kind of got stuck between the boards and the ice. So that one was just like terrible, and I like couldn't drive. I like couldn't watch TV. Like just pretty much like the normal life. Just everything affected me, right? So that one I missed. I think like a month and a half, and then so I just came back from that. I was warming up for the first game back, where I was just going to be on the bench and warming up, playing soccer with the guys like normal, and I got smoked in the head by a soccer ball, and just like started feeling symptoms right away and everything. So I sat on the bench for that one, and didn't feel right, but I didn't want to say anything because like what if this was just going to go over like the next day or like whatever. So I practiced with it for like a little bit for like a few days and sat on the bench for like another game or two, and then I was just like, then I was like scheduled to play a game, right? And I was just like, this does not feel right, and I don't want to like put myself or like my team through this with me going in and just playing bad and everything, right? So I told them, and I got on the IR again, and I was out for like another month and a half before I started feeling good again. So yeah, it was like a very long time.
So with concussions that happen within the game and playing, do you feel the NHL has taken proper steps or protocols, or has sincerely investigated enough and has the best interest of the players at heart? Do you think they have done enough moving forward so far with concussions and concussion protocols?
I think that they recognize that there's a problem. They have taken steps. I don't think they've taken enough steps at this point. I still think that there's a lot to work on. But I think that they have been trying, right? Just to get away from like the touch icing, which like just did so much damage and everything like that. Like the next step would probably be like the helmets of some kind, I would think. But I mean, just from like the player's safety and everything, like there's like still things that we can do and like be harder on the guys that are delivering these dangerous hits and everything like that. So there's still work to be done, but I think that that it's going in the right direction.
I noticed a change. I noticed a more increase in head injuries when we took away the two-line pass, opened up the game, and increased the speed and the flow. I mean, guys now are much bigger, much stronger, much faster. And when you have a high rate of speed, it increases the chance of more impact, right?
Yes. And like you said too, like the game is just getting faster and faster, and like that is going to have to be like, we don't want to slow the game down, but we have to find a way to keep the players safe too. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with.
So you make the move from Carolina to Calgary, right? And then you end up going from Calgary to New Jersey from 2017 to 19. You play for the Devils. You still managed to do okay, but you were clearly feeling the effects of a long nagging hip injury, correct?
Yeah. So like the hip stuff that I've had, like that has pretty much been bugging me my whole NHL career. Like, but it got worse and worse and worse. And like the first 4 years, like I could play with it, and then it kind of got to that point where I couldn't really make myself justice out there. And yeah, I mean, it was just one of these things that I just wish that I addressed like a little bit earlier, but yeah, you live and you learn.
So moving forward to today, concussion wise, everything is fine. You're okay, I hope.
I feel fine. Like, yeah, I mean, I got my body to like the point where I can live a normal life, and I can work out, and I can run, and I can play golf, and yeah, I mean, that was the thing that I was nervous about, if I was going to keep playing, if I was just not going to be able to live like a normal life. And yeah, I'm like extremely thankful for like the life that I have now.
Yes, you had some pretty good years in the NHL and some respectable numbers. Are you happy with those accomplishments, or are you just simply thankful that you got the shot to play in the National Hockey League?
I'm thankful that I got the shot, but I'm never happy. I'm always gonna like think what would have happened if I didn't get these issues, or if I took care of my body more when I was younger, or if I knew when I was younger what I know now, right? But I don't look back either. Like I always look forward, and yeah. I wouldn't say I'm satisfied though.
So Eddie, this past year you coached at Arizona State for the Division I program.
Yes.
I mean, how do you compare that coming from a player to what you're doing now coaching players at the NCAA level?
For me, the transition was pretty easy. Like I been playing hockey my whole life, and like I knew what I like, and I knew how I like being treated by other coaches and stuff, right? So the transition has not been challenging, I wouldn't say, but this was more of a way for me to just stay within the game, give a little bit back from like a game that has given me so much, and just like still be part of like a team spirit and like team mentality, right? Because I love that. So yeah, the first year was great. We made it. We were gonna go to the tournament and play before everything got canceled. So I mean, so I mostly feel bad for our seniors that like started this program, and like we were really bad like when they first came in now, and they've been building this tradition, and like now they didn't get a chance to like play at like the biggest stage. So yeah, I feel like a little bit sorry for them.
Yeah, the coronavirus has really put a damper on a lot of college sports and pro sports in general. But a lot of people are just, learning that Arizona State used to be just a club hockey team that now is a bona fide Division I NCAA program, which really attracts, colder North American kids up in Canada or northern United States. You are probably getting more familiar with it. But now that you're there, what is the college hockey like, and what is the college atmosphere like for you being a coach?
Great. I mean, I think there are some really good players on the college level. They're going to take like the step to the NHL. Like, just look at what Cale McCarr did this year, like his full first year, and Quinn Hughes. Like, there are so many good players, right? And we had Brinson Pachinak here on our team with ASU that just signed with the Sharks, and so I think he's gonna have like a really good career too. And the difference with like the pro game and the college game that I think is that like you have to realize that they are still kids, and like they are gonna make mistakes, and they are gonna have to learn from those mistakes to jump to the next level, right? And that's what we're working a lot with the guys on our team. It's just that like you're okay with making one mistake, but don't do it again, right? And like just hammer that into them, and just like make sure that they know that once they get to the next level, like this is what's going to be expected of them.
So from our conversation we're having right now, it seems to me like you're going to stay at Arizona State and help develop and coach their young goaltenders. Is it something that excites you, knowing that you're going to have some influence or help develop potential NHL prospects or future NHL players?
Yeah. So We had a really good goalie here. Last year, his name is Evan DeBrouwer. So he was invited to the Sharks camp this year. We will see what's going to happen with all that, and we have another kid whose name is Justin Robbins, and we have a New Jersey draft pick that is coming in now. Cole Brady. He is going to be super fun to work with. So, I mean, we get a lot of goalies, good goalies coming up through our system now, and like we're kind of just trying to build on what Joey Decord started here before he signed with Ottawa, and yeah, I mean, just ship as many goalies as we can to the pro leagues.
Yeah, as far as the dynamics go for the game of college hockey, only really diehard fans will know, Eddie, that, you know, when a team drafts a player who's committed to an NCAA program, they'll usually have their rights for a little bit longer than what they would drafting them out of the CHL. So this gives the opportunity for the player to develop a little more, spending 3 years in a program, and they become a little more mature, and they finally figure out what they have a few years down the road versus signing a younger goalie.
Yeah, and like to be honest, so I like to have my goalies in like cycles of 3 years instead of cycles of 4, because that's how long it takes to finish the education and everything, right? But I'm telling D-Brow the next year has to be his last year because I want him out of here.
No, I get it. You're smart. You're forcing them to focus on the academics, and you're getting them to get it done in 3 years, and you're moving them on so that they're ready to sign that contract and go in 3 years and out.
Yeah.
So I know a bit about you, Eddie. You love Mexican food. You love to cook lasagna. You're basically a foodie. Have you ever thought of investing in one of those food trucks and, you know, driving up to a stadium or an arena? Kind of like Eddie's Food Shack or Eddie's Shack, or your own brand of a food truck?
So I haven't thought about that.
You never know. It could be successful. You know, your type of personality and your love for food.
Yeah, I mean, that would be like a fun idea to do something like that in Vancouver, right? But yeah, my like dream when I was younger was to open a restaurant and like just manage it and just make my own food and everything. But I don't think it's gonna be like that big of a hit.
So you're Mr. Nice Guy. You've been known to be a really good guy in the league, in the NHL. So I guess my question for you is, since you're so nice, like, have you ever taken a penalty?
Yeah, so we don't have the trapezoid in Sweden, right? So my first game that I came over here, it was in training camp. So I was just going to play 2 periods, and it was like 10 seconds left of the second period, and I've been great so far, right? Like not playing in the trapezoid or anything, or like playing great, and then with 10 seconds to go, I went out to play in the trapezoid. So I got a penalty, and like since I wasn't gonna play the third period, the next goalie had to kill like the penalty, right? And he let in a goal because of it. So it felt like pretty bad there for a while. But yeah, I mean, I've had a few of those, and a few puck outs, a few minor roughing penalties. That's about it.
So trapezoid infractions and puck outs. You still continue to live up to your nice guy reputation. Let's forward on to goalie masks. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Just how important are masks and their design to goaltenders these days? I mean, the airbrush work is phenomenal. They tell stories. Sometimes it's kind of like they create an alter ego or a character, but just how important and how much does that mask affect a goalie, and what does it mean to them?
Yeah, I mean, now when like the pad and like the glove designs are starting, like you can kind of like express yourself there too. But I feel like before, like the mask was the only way that you could like have a little bit of personality on it, right? So I've always had my dad on there, and yeah, I mean, masks are for sure special, and like that's why that I kept like every single mask that I play with, because like there's like so much personal on there.
That was what I was going to bring up next. Your biggest and your constant themes on your mask seem to be, one, your father, and two, the Swedish chef.
Yeah.
Why do the both of those seem to be constantly on your helmet and mean so much to you?
No, but it was more like a reminder, like what I was fighting for and what I was working for, right? And my family has always meant the most to me, and just like giving my dad like a little pad before I went out was kind of like a ritual to me, and I knew that he was home watching too, but just he was kind of halfway across the world. So yeah.
The Swedish chef, I'm guessing, is one, the combination of Sweden, as well, your love for food and cooking. That would probably make the most sense to me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's hear it, Eddie. Let's hear the Swedish chef. I want to hear the impersonation, okay?
Berkey.
See, you lived up to your reputation of being a really nice guy and going along with that one. I really appreciate it. But let's talk about you being a really bad dancer.
Yeah.
But you sure can celebrate wins, because you get the fist pumping and the legs flying around there, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the problem with the dancing? You are a freaking NHL goaltender with athletic ability, man. What is going on in that department?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a great seating dancer, if you ask me. But like sitting down with the fist bump and moving, like I can do that. But like once I stand up and my like leg coordination and everything starts wobbling a little bit, it's not a pretty sight.
I get it. The stork dance, right? You were the stork. I mean, what was it like dancing at your wedding?
It was a lot of practice before.
So Eddie, in your years of the NHL, trash talk. I mean, every league has it. The NBA, the NFL, the NHL, trash talking. Some people like it, some people don't. Who was the worst trash talker you ever heard, and who was the funniest at it?
I mean, both answers are probably the same person. I'm going to say that's Alex Burrows. I mean, just like with his French accent, and like no one could understand him, but he kept yapping and yapping, right? So Burr would for sure be the answer to both those questions.
For some reason, I am not even shocked by your answer. So your NHL career is done now, and it was a pretty good one. It wasn't as long as some, but it was pretty good. So now that you've moved on, you are currently selling real estate, correct? How did you get into that, and what made you want to do it?
Yeah. So I started this about 4 or 5 months ago here, and this is something that I've been very, very interested in my whole life, and my family's been doing it back home in Sweden, and yeah, I mean, I just love helping people, and I'm such a people person, and I thrive when I'm around people. So it's been going very well so far, and I love it. So yeah, it's great.
So Eddie, I'd love to help you with the real estate venture as a career post hockey. How can people, if they're looking for a rental or a vacant property, or a family home for retirement in Arizona, how can they get a hold of you? Where can they find you? What's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so the easiest way is Eddie at KennethJamesRealty.com.
So that's Eddie at KennethJamesRealty.com.
I'm just launching my website right now. It's going to be EddieLack.com, so it's super easy. So one of those two would be the best.
Soon people will be able to get a hold of you at EddieLack.com.
Thank you.
Eddie, thank you for being a part of In the Game. Let's stay in touch. Let's connect again and chat some college hockey down the road.
Let's do it. I love it. Thank you so much.